long rows of like one thing, like green onions, like a 3-ton truckload of Dutch sets would come in. We had to plant all of them, you know, like kids out there. So it was totally monotonous. And we didn't get to go around to the summer cottages around Georgian Bay to help the farmer deliver and sell to the summer cottages. All this was cut out. We were just robots. And that's when I began to hate it. Began to hate farming. And I swore I would never do it in my life again. I figured that was the change, and that isn't what I'm ever going to do. Come on, come on. We've been industrialized on all levels, and when you have that realization, you know, we feel helpless. Eh? When I think of home, I think of the little thatched house I was born in the west of Ireland. I remember thinking, you know, riding around in a tractor in southern Ontario, thinking I'm not going to do this in my life ever again. Maybe that was some inclination of that to actually, because I remember fondly my childhood, you know, the horses and cattle and all that way of doing stuff, and watching horses and carts going down the road. Christopher Spicer, he was an old Englishman, and he'd been farming over there since 1948. And I went into his, I went to buy vegetables of him in 1979 because my girlfriend knew about him. And I walked into his farmyard on Halloween, and it was like going back 100 years. And I seen how he did things, and that's when I decided that this is what I was going to do. I wanted to go work for him, but he wouldn't have it. My parents left without second thought. Their way of self-reliant lifestyle, a little mixed farm with, even though it was poverty, with their own efforts, they had, they didn't have a mortgage, they didn't have any of this stuff. It was hard to find money and so on, but they had some power in their lives, eh? In October of 1979, so we wanted to make a camp. So I started digging down here, and she helped me, and we made that little downstairs place. I cut off a 45-gallon drum and put a hole for a lid and put it on the ground. That was our fire for the winter. You know, when we look at the past, we see the good parts of it, eh? And I'm telling you the good parts. My daughter, she learned to count by counting the fish. I'd go out at 4:30 in the morning fishing, and I'd put her asleep in the bow of the boat, and wake her up by tickling her nose with the tail. Tail of a fish. If we want to be able to do things for ourselves and not pay other people to live our lives for us, we have to be devoted. We have to learn stuff and stick with it. 2 in the morning. So I come down and I get Amber awake, and I said, "Hey Amber, we got to go to work." It's getting cold, we have to go down and get some insulation on that. And there was about $8,000 worth of vegetables under the tarp. Eh? By 10 in the morning we had that pile saved. But if I had that time saying, "Oh, I can't deal with this," or "I'm too tired," or "maybe it'll be okay," I might not be farming today because I wouldn't have been able to afford to. So, to me, life is do or die, and then you're living. And I might seem harsh on people and hard on people, and I am, and I'm never going to be different. You know, this isn't something that you might play at, you know, because I don't play at it, you know. I got run over with my horses and smashed up, and I got up and I kept doing it, yeah. Going out there crawling rows in July is hard work. And if you're doing it just because you're going to get $11 an hour, it's It's not enough for that kind of work. But if you're doing it so you can learn to do it well and someday do it yourself, then it's worth your while doing it. It took me getting run over with my horses and injured to find my first helper. And that was my wife. She had a friend over in the Slocan Valley that had a young English guy there. And so he comes over and you know, I'm sitting here in pain and I look at him and he didn't look very strong, eh? So I looked at him and said, well, you can stay the night. And he kind of ran away from home when he was 13 and this kind of guy, and he did ecstasy a lot and drank a lot of draft beer in the city, and he was depressed a lot of the time. But you could see the change that happened to that guy, and like he helped me for 3 years, and he's farming today. Yeah, he's my first apprentice. And you have to accept the fact that you have to go and look after your cattle and horses if you have animals. It's care, and same with your plants. So you have that. That's what's telling you what to do, not somebody. No. So that's what I mean about power. You have the choice. I'm not used to talking so much.
Yeah. Yeah. Without
I
anybody
always
saying
say
anything.
talk is cheap.